This video is about what I would do if I were a public servant and wanted to get the maximum amount of loan forgiveness. Again, a public servant's a teacher, a social worker, those that work for nonprofit or government agencies, including school districts, local universities, hospital systems. So this video is going to break down what would I, as a student loan expert, the founder of LoanSense, we create software to help better manage student loans, and as lenders understand what the debt to income improvement is from debt to income improvement from if I graduated, knew I was going to go into public service and had student loans. So the video is going to break that down step by step. Number one, what happens when you graduate? You go into grace period. Grace period is 6 months where you don't have to pay your student loans, right? What should you do in your grace period? If you know you're going to go into public service, you don't need to think about accelerating interest payments, right? Because you're ultimately going to go towards loan forgiveness. If you're not sure if you're going to go into public service and you're considering going into private service, like private sector work, then obviously paying off as much interest before your student loan capitalizes means the interest gets added on to the principal to create your ultimate loan payment. You should try to pay off as much of that interest as possible. But if I were a public servant, I wouldn't do that. I would instead be thinking about how I save early for retirement, how I secure my financial future while still managing my student loans. Because if you take every action this video has to offer, then you will be in good standing in your student loans, regardless of what additional laws get passed. There is no fear because the public service loan forgiveness is protected based on legislation. So you don't need to worry about that. Regardless of what payment plans they make available, public service loan forgiveness is still going to be there. So now, after grace period, if you're a public servant, you don't make extra interest payments. The second thing I would do is I would immediately, if I did not find a job, immediately enroll into an income-driven plan and certify my income as $0. Again, I said go into an income-driven plan. I did not say go into forbearance. The number one biggest mistake public servants make is put their student loans in forbearance. As a public servant who is working or not working, it does not matter. You do not want to put your student loans in forbearance. You know why? Because forbearance does not count as a payment. If you say my payment is in forbearance this month and I pay $0, that does not count as a payment. And the goal as a public servant is to get 120 qualifying payments. So if you go into forbearance, it does not count as a payment. Big, big, big error. That's mistake number one public servants make, put their loan in forbearance. The second mistake public servants do is they don't recertify their paperwork at the right time to maximize the number of $0 payments. So let's talk about a strategy here. If you're a public servant and you need to make 120 qualifying payments, including $0 can be a qualifying payment if you file your paperwork properly and get that payment counted by qualifying your employer and filing into the income-driven repayment plan, right? Those are two factors. The second mistake, like I said, is not recertifying your paperwork at the right time. And what I mean is between jobs, when you have $0 income, is the perfect time to recertify your payment. So let's say in a 10-year period of the 120 payments is 10-year period, you're between jobs 3 to 4 times. If you recertify your income while you're between those jobs 3 to 4 times, that means you have 3 to 4 years of $0 payments. And you actually only have to pay your student loans for a total of 7 to 6 years, 6 to 7 years if you're between jobs 3 to 4 times, right? If you're between jobs 5 times, that's 5 years of $0 payments, in which case you only pay for 5 years. If you are a healthcare worker where you have to do fellowship and residency, that's years of lower payments you could get. So let's say you're a doctor and you did 4 years of residency, plus you went between 3 jobs in 10 years. That literally gives you 4 years of lower payments because residency doesn't pay that much relative to your debt. So let's say your payment's $100-something for 4 years you're in residency. Plus, let's say you change job 3 times after that. That is literally 7 years. 7 years. I'm going like this while I'm saying this. That's 7 years of very low payments. That means you only have to make 3 years of doctor salary payments. And this is the secret nobody is talking about for public servants is how do you strategize to reduce your payments to pay as little as possible over the 120 payments. The third mistake public servants make is when they actually have to make a payment. Let's say They're not between jobs. They're in a job and it's a recertification date. The mistake number 3 they make is they just use their tax return or they use their current pay stub without thinking what proof of income they should be using. If you are working this year and you earn 10% more than last year, then which year of income should you be using? You should be using last year's because you made less. If you make less this year, you should be using this year. Strategize which proof of income. The 4th mistake public servants make is not understanding how getting married or having a child impacts your payments. And the reason I say this is because if you get married, should you file jointly or separately? A CPA can possibly answer, not possibly, they can answer what the filing separate tax penalty may be, but they do not know how to answer the impacts on your student loan payments. Mistake number 4 is not understanding the impacts of your student loan payments by getting married and filing jointly. And the reason I say that is because if you're married and you're filing jointly, your spouse's income counts towards your payments. And that may be great if they also have student loans. If they don't have student loans, that's bad because that will increase your payment. Okay. So the 4th mistake, again, is not understanding that. The 5th mistake public servants make and don't realize is that student loans impact your ability to achieve other financial goals like home buying. In the home buying process, when is it most advantageous in your repayment cycle to possibly buy a home? And when should you hit go with a mortgage lender to try to qualify for a home? The worst time to go and try to qualify for a home is when you're in grace period or you have no material proof that you're paying your student loans. You have a payment of 0 right now because you're in forbearance or you're in grace period. That's a horrible time to go shop for a mortgage because they're likely, if you have high balance, going to use 1%. That may hurt you. That may help you in some instances, right? But the biggest error, the 5th error, is not knowing the impacts to your financial goals. So what I mean is, as a public servant, you could make a payment of 0 and get a conventional loan qualifying that payment as 0, which helps you afford way more house. That's really important because when you go buy a house, based on what you're paying on your student loan really matters, especially if you have a higher income. So again, mistake number 5 is not knowing how student loans impact your financial goals and how to manage it to optimize when you can actually win a home with your scenario, right? For a lot of people, this is really important, especially if you carry 75% of your income. 75% of your income is your student loan balance. Like let's say you earn $100,000 and your student loan is $75,000 or higher. You are at greater risk for getting declined for lending products if you do not properly manage your student loan payments, because they don't care how much your balance is. They care how much your monthly payment is. But if your monthly payment is 0, they're going to use some kind of percentage, and you don't want them to use that percentage because they're never going to truly use 0 unless you actually have a 0 student loan payment with the right documentation. And at LoanSense, we have the expertise to know what type of documentation that is so that you can achieve your home buying dreams. Okay. So those were my 5 tips on if I were coming out of school as a public servant, what would I do? I would know how to manage interest during grace period. I would understand when to refile my paperwork. I would know what proof of income to use when I file my paperwork, like my tax return, my pay stubs, etc. I would understand the impact of my student loans on other financial goals. And I feel like I'm missing one because I'm rambling and not taking notes here. But ultimately, how you manage your student loans really matter. And if I were to do it over the scenario of the video, this is how I would manage my student loans. Again, if you like this video, please like, please subscribe, and please share with anybody you believe that this can help. Again, we have links to schedule with one of our consultants. If you feel like you're messing up your student loans or you're not managing it properly, if you're interested in meeting with one of our consultants, please click the link below. We also have a free advisory chat feature on our website, as well as a free student loan plan. We cannot wait to help you. See you on the other side.